host this session today. We have been doing monthly sessions with different people with expertise throughout our region over the past year, starting last August. So we've got some really great sessions that have been showcased so far, different expertise areas in community development. So today we're looking forward to hearing about Texas A&M AgriLife Extension's work in tourism. So you can see the bright, shiny faces there of Stephen Brueggerhoff. Hopefully I've gotten that right. I've been practicing. And Miles Phillips that have joined us from Texas. And we're looking forward to hearing some of the great work that they are doing there in that state. So without taking up any more of their time, because they've got a lot of fabulous details to share with us, guys, I'll turn the mic over to you. Thank you for presenting for us today.
Thank you very much. We're glad to be here, and we'll get started. I'm Miles Phillips. We'll do this in two parts where I'll highlight the work in the nature tourism program, and then Stephen will come in and talk about our Texas Friendly Customer Service and the event management program. And we are specialists working across the state to support agents and do direct programming related to tourism. So with that, let's see if we can make the slides go forward. There we go. One of the things that we're going to is just demand, understanding demand for tourism, how it's changing, and in our case specifically nature-based tourism, which we define as agricultural tourism, adventure, hunting, and fishing are all part of what we service. So it catches it all. So we look at just human population growth. There's a lot more people in the world, in the state, and people want these outdoor experiences. So the law of demand and supply says that there's going to be more willingness to pay for these kind of experiences. So there are markets that exist now that didn't exist in the near past. One of those few ways we have of measuring nature-based tourism is through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Study each 5 years. And in this case, this is just the wildlife component. So we're looking at wildlife viewing, hunting, and fishing. And in Texas, that's an impact of over $15 billion. So that doesn't include the nature part, which is the cabins by the lake, beach travel, mountain hiking, whatever. So it's a very significant economic indicator, but it's dispersed, so sometimes people are not aware of it. One of the things we really work with is helping people come up with a new use for their existing resources, whether it's something on the farm, their community history, and take that and make something of value in it. So one of the examples of this is cabins by the lake. A lot of times working with ranchers, we talk about just what does a calf sell for. We try to compare that to lodging rates, help people kind of understand what we're getting at, what the opportunities are. So I'm going to show just a few examples of kinds of businesses we work with. A hunting operation, this would be the very top end. If you see $25,000 package for a deer hunt, definitely the top end. But there's a lot of demand for their hunting in Texas, and so that's something we also work with. Otherwise, we also have private lands, just tourists, caves, and other natural attractions. It's a multi-million-dollar business in Texas, and look at the different aspects of how we can understand what they're trying to sell, how it fits into both the community development and the private enterprise. There's another example of a ranch that's set up for weddings and events. So the event management program helps people understand how to manage this. He does not manage the wedding, just rents out space for 2 weddings and is full all year long. So roughly $400,000 in revenue just from that. A couple other ideas we try to highlight is just changing demographics and things in agriculture. We're looking at changing from specialized operations and looking at diversification. And in this case, this is supposed to be the cattle ranch with the hunting blind in the background, kind of looking at diversification through other guest enterprise activities. for many people, this means we are there to try to help them understand what we do naturally when we travel ourselves, which is look for what's interesting, what's valuable to us. And so we have to help give perspective that the visitors coming to a farm, ranch, rural community are there because where they come from, what's common in that community isn't necessarily something they're familiar with. So it's a blend of the natural resource, the amenities, and the cultural resource. So that's a key point that sometimes gets overlooked, is really blending culture and history with nature and other resources makes for the best product. We're also working with people who, if they're farmers and ranchers, are not necessarily wanting to be full-time people managers. And so we really have to look at a business model that is able to satisfy what people want and what wildlife wants and existing operations. So we do kind of a combination of training of people management, wildlife management, and help them understand they don't have to do it all themselves. Look for the right partners. In some cases, it's families work with ranch. One brother handles the wildlife, and one handles all the tradition, the wildlife and the tourism, and then the other brother handles the traditional ag operations. The other thing we really try to help with is we're not in the commodity business. So success comes from, one big difference from other work is that there's a lot more advertising involved. People have to know about you. And so we try to help them understand marketing and advertising and how to use the internet and accentuate. Yes, word of mouth is your best bet, but there are other effective tools. So that's one of the biggest questions we get is marketing in addition to liability, and I'll mention that a little later. To give people an overview, both in terms of community representatives and individual enterprises, I've kind of developed just this simple 3 I's for product development. And the first one is just inventory, both for community, doing asset mapping, asset assessment, for a ranch or farm, the same thing. It's just really kind of documenting what you have, both in natural features, any tourism services, which means just amenities, a place to stay, bathrooms, transportation, place to eat, what you have and what's nearby, the full package, that where someone's traveling, they need to experience all those things. So which part are you going to provide? So we do trainings to help people evaluate that, and we kind of can do some of those assessments one-on-one at times. Evaluate capacity, how many people at a time, is it an event or over a year, seasonal, and then really help people with interpretation. Again, both community and revealing the story that's the site's natural history, its cultural history, what makes it special to the owner, what makes the community special to community members, and how that can be important to guests. So that interpretation element is really important. It's part of the marketing, part of the value added, where you can compete and get higher prices than just the cheapest place to stay or another farm or ranch. And the last part is integrate, and that means make it easy and enjoyable to blend so-called natural wild experiences, ag experiences, with so-called unnatural experiences, which is what we all need. It's natural. We need to sleep, we need to eat, we need bathrooms, but those urban or town experiences, because on a given day, the same person may want a true adventure in the wild, or they may just want an easy opportunity to recreate. This point is pretty interesting. We use this. You can think of the answer yourself if you know it. But why don't polar bears eat penguins? Well, because they live on opposite ends of the earth, literally. Polar bears in the Arctic and penguins in the Antarctic. And it's this point that what's common locally isn't necessarily known by your visitors. And so it could be very much an attraction. And so don't overlook the common items and the common practices, because that's what makes your place, your community special at times. Kind of reinforcing, we try to use what economic data is available. There isn't as much as we'd like, but there is data out there and more being collected through local projects, local research projects also. Looking at 106 billion from the 2006 U.S. Fish and Wildlife Study. And again, this is just the wildlife part. Your travel and tourism impact studies for your state overall are good numbers, and we'll highlight some of those for Texas, but they're good to share with your community development folks, your economic development folks, because a lot of economic development people are not trained in tourism. They're not aware of the impacts and how to measure it, who to contact. So a lot of our work is helping them understand tourism. The other idea here, particularly for rural areas, is the idea of what developed really means. And this is an example of a wildlife refuge developed for wildlife, but specifically developed for people to visit. So it's got a place to park, a bathroom, it's got trails, it's got the reputation of being quality managed. And so this, it's roughly a 500-acre site, generating over $5 million in visitor revenue and really impacting those local communities outside the refuge because of all the hotel, restaurant, all the other impacts that are there in the region. Same thing with our state parks. The study documented the economic benefit to the communities around the state parks because the state park was there. People traveled to that community because of the state park, that natural resource that's so-called undeveloped, but it's really developed as a wildlife attraction, a nature attraction. So we've got to understand that term development sometimes. We mentioned marketing, so very few people have had marketing courses, so we'll just kind of go over some of the basic. These are full workshops where we're turning people on to opportunities to learn more, but really helping them really define their product, understand the place in a tourism market. They're selling, of course, when people show up on site, but there's a lot of ways to sell before that. Online reservations, coupons, or even going for brokerage or wholesalers in a sense, where like a motor coach company does a sale to the public and they have a contract with the farmer ranch to bring certain number of busloads of people there. The other thing that we try to help is that they can add a retail product within their tourism, and it helps both. Retail tourism plus the tourists buy the retail product, which has a shelf life, so it's better income opportunities. And then promotions, understanding events or how to go along with current trends. And pricing, often I think people underestimate the value of their pricing, and so we want to understand pricing techniques and how to get a price that really makes it worthwhile. That means making sure they know why they're unique within their particular market. Why is it special? How is it the best of what they're particularly offering, whether that's community or individuals? We have some online planning tools developed as a way for people to do a basic business plan and then use that as a discussion point with us so that we can help them get reality checks and go further and know, how much effort they want to put into it. Is it supplemental for some Christmas money, or is it entire new salary for a next generation or for a new opportunity entirely? That means helping them define that product and then define their market, make sure there's a match, and continually going through that process. We help them calculate cost of production, and most people underestimate or ignore the opportunity to put a price on their own time. And so we've kind of helped them build that in through some spreadsheets and one-on-one talks. And look at amenities, understand the difference between amenity and the product, such as people pay for the hotel room at the beach, but generally don't pay for the beach access, but they wouldn't go to the hotel without the beach. So in the same sense of a rancher community with nature-based attractions, we got to understand where people are paying, but also why. And pricing method is really, are you looking for a value added? Are you looking for comparable pricing or just a profit percentage? A couple basics on helping them set base prices, understanding they've got to plan ahead for discounts and for sales, and that it's an ongoing process. Here I just are going to highlight a few examples. This is a company that leased land on a ranch, just like a commercial operation would lease land in a plaza in town, and set up their outfitting business and quail hunting, but did all kinds of things, including cheese making workshops. Kayaking, in this case, looking at the value of the guide, helping people understand it. And this is a difficult market element, but quality guides and hosts really help people understand and value what they're experiencing. And so we work to train guides and train people to add value to their experience. Another traditional ranch that ended up doing a lot with nature-based, taking an old historical home, converting it to a guest house, and combining wildlife and their ag operation. Then vineyards. There's a lot of vineyards in Texas. It's really become a major attraction, major industry. This was one of the early operations, and I highlight here this blue circle, kind of how they go along with promotional trends, promotional events. The whole zombie craze, they even, the zombie murder mystery dinners they have out at their place. So they started with just a vineyard, then grew into events, then eventually built a 10-bedroom guest place, and they've really become a really big operation. And then using things to make it easy to buy and where, using Facebook. This is another ranch that just did full restoration of the wildlife on the ranch. It was kind of an overused ranch, and they restored it to high quality operation, high quality wildlife. They teach people about land stewardship, and so they charge people over $100 a person to come out and participate in a workshop just to hear what they did to their land. So it's really talking about themselves. In fact, Mr. Bamberger actually wrote a book about his whole operation. And then making it easy through online sales. And now this is pretty easy to do. There are lots of companies that make this easy, but having an online opportunity to pay and reserve your spot. And as Yogi Bear, my favorite person to quote, the future ain't what it used to be. There are a lot of opportunities that are maybe new to folks, and in extension, that's our job to help them know what those opportunities are. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Stephen, and he's going to talk about his programs.
Thank you, Miles. Howdy, everybody. I'm Stephen Brueggerhoff. I manage 2 programs for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service. One is the Texas Friendly program. The purpose of the Texas Friendly program is to enhance delivery of quality customer service to the traveling public. And the other one is the Texas Event Leadership program. We provide professional development training for those folks that have bootstrapped their way into their jobs. A lot of folks in the festival and events industry may have taken some classes in college in business and marketing, but in my experience, there's quite a number of professionals that have learned from the ground up in their job. And this provides an avenue for those folks that are trying to fast track that, or even to try to get into a larger network of professionals in the festival and events industry. This provides an easier access to that network. So first, I'm going to talk about the Texas Friendly Hospitality Program. Texas Friendly has been around for over 15 years. Before that, I want to tell you all a little bit about what we do for AgriLife Extension. Our mission in the Extension Service is to provide quality, relevant outreach and continuing educational programs and services to the people of Texas. So we've got long arms that stretch out over these 254 counties here in Texas. We provide our programs, both Miles and myself, through the Department of Recreation, Park and Tourism Sciences here at Texas A&M University. The mission of the Parks and Tourism Sciences Department is to generate and disseminate knowledge about the management and development of recreation, park, community, and tourism resources. So we've got a great fit. We've got wonderful access to a lot of these academicians that are providing, investigating and researching what we're providing to the general public and to business professionals. So we speak directly to the practitioners. For both programs, certainly we need to look at the larger picture. What is happening in Texas? Direct travel spending in Texas provides a lot of money to this state. So we're a really large industry. Direct travel spending from tourism generated approximately over $70 billion here in Texas in 2014. Some of the statistics that I'll be talking about are 2 years prior. The Office of the Governor does hire a firm to calculate all that information based on travel information through hotels, etc. But typically that information won't come out in a report till about midsummer. So we're anticipating those newer statistics to come in really soon. So I'm going to be referencing 2014. Out of those folks that are coming and spending their money in tourism, they're estimating that over 70% are visiting for leisure, which means about 30% of those are here strictly for business. We're assuming that out of those folks that are coming here to spend their dollars to go to SeaWorld or another attraction here in Texas, maybe to our own, what we call our little Grand Canyon, Palo Duro Canyon up in North Texas, that it might actually generate some sort of a business opportunity for them as well. Direct travel spending in Texas supported over 630,000 jobs, and 6.8 of those billion is attributed to international visitors. We pulled this from the travel research reports from the Office of the Governor in 2014. This information is very, very valuable to us, and it's information that I try to impart to folks that I'm training in customer service, as well as reminding those professionals, those practitioners in the festival and events industry as well. For the Texas Friendly program, I offer there's three different aspects to the Texas Friendly Hospitality program. We provide instructor training. It's just me, Stephen Brueggerhoff, for all of Texas. 254 counties is a lot of counties to cover. So I rely on those individuals, those professionals within their communities to use the Texas Friendly customer service model in their community. I'm not out in West Texas, for instance, out in the true desert in El Paso. There are folks that live there that know their community better than I can, and can make a greater impact within their community by using this model. So I do get those calls and interest from professionals throughout Texas to come and give a training so that they can use that model within their community. I also provide direct customer service training. I have been asked to do that. So I've been to towns 200 miles away, 150 miles away, something like that, or even in my own backyard, and provided that direct customer service training to staff. There's also another aspect to this, which I'll mention in a little bit. And we do have another program called the Texas Friendly Ambassador Program, where we've taken the Texas Friendly model and modified it to meet the curriculum needs of high school teachers. So we're providing soft skills training to those to youth that are just entering workforce. We want to make sure that they've got a good footing with some of those basic skills that they'll need to enter our workforce. We found that there's a lot of interest in that program as well. Workshop goals for any of the customer service training that we provide. We want to discover the art of customer service with those individuals, with both managers and those frontline staff that are trying to do their job as best they can. We do that through a framework we call the 6 Hospitality Habits. And I'll address that in one moment, but we do have a framework that we provide to those folks either in customer service workshop or to the instructors themselves. We're helping them to understand why customer service is important. And again, for those instructors, we're helping them to develop skills to teach customer service workshops in their community. For the 6 hospitalities framework, the model, very direct and common sense aspects that each one of us should know about our jobs, but honestly, I'm not sure that everyone does. And I do find that that my clients are reminded and sometimes surprised that these simple aspects like making a good impression, good first impression with their clients, knowing their job, knowing their community, communicating clearly, and how to handle problems effectively. That goes a long way with client relationships, making a good lasting impression. So we use these aspects of this framework to train the folks in best practices of customer service. So we do use some data that's collected. You know, we all know that we need to be nice to each other, but we need to also gather data to justify why we're providing customer service training. One of those certainly is the economic impact that tourism is making within Texas. But we can also use other information like this survey that was committed by the U.S. Small Business Administration, U.S. Chamber of Commerce in 2006. Over 68% of those folks that were in survey were upset with the treatment that they received. They left a particular service or company because they just didn't receive great customer service. That can go a long way. Providing excellent customer service and helping our staff to improve the skills that they already have can go a long way in setting themselves apart from other businesses. So we rely on information like this to justify why we're providing customer service training. So what does 2006 have to do with 2016? I did find another report in 2012. It was a group called the Expenditure Global Consumer Pulse Research that committed a survey to over 12,000 customers in 32 countries, and they were coming up with almost the same statistics. 62% of the people in their survey actually switched brands or service in the past year, in that previous year, due to poor customer service. This information is not, those kind of statistics, we're not seeing much of a change in, even over a 10-year period, or in this case, a 6-year period, but I suspect that we're going to see over 60% of the people in any kind of survey will say the customer service is a priority for them, and that helps to justify why we're providing this training. The clients that I do get are, of course, those people involved, those practitioners involved directly in tourism. Chamber of Commerce has, our Chamber of Commerces here in Texas do have an interest. I have clients asking to provide instructor training to them so that they can address their community more effectively. The Convention and Visitors Bureaus will also, I've also got a lot of clients that are interested in instructor training. Now, commonsensically, those folks in hoteliers involved in the hotel industry have asked us for customer service training. They want to make sure that their clients, their internal customers, are providing superior customer service to keep people coming back. I've also had other businesses ask me for customer service training. I've had a healthcare facility in another town about 145 miles east of here in College Station ask for customer service training. They want to provide the best customer service training, customer service to their clients as well. The model itself has been developed. Those 6 hospitality habits have been developed to be flexible to the needs of our clients. So again, I've had clients from the hotel industry directly related to tourism, to other organizations like a healthcare service provider that have asked for customer service training. We can see that that's a very, very basic and important service that we can provide to our clients. The Texas Friendly Ambassador Program. It was modified and built directly from the Texas Friendly Hospitality Program. We've adapted from the Texas Friendly to meet the demands of high school students. There are a few teachers in high school at the junior and senior level that are trying to prepare their students to enter the workforce. They see a value in that. I have had quite a number of teachers that have asked for this training and I've provided it to them. I'm also working within our own community of extension professionals and keeping them aware that we do have the Texas Friendly Hospitality Program available to them. We can train them as an instructor. I have had more, I'm starting to have more of an interest from the 4-H program, from those programs within Extension here in Texas that are working directly with youth in the Texas Friendly Ambassador program. Again, Texas Friendly Ambassador provides workforce entry level skills to those youth that need to understand the importance of what that is. That was a nutshell of the Texas Friendly Hospitality Program. The second program that I manage is the Texas Event Leadership Program. It's directed through the Department of Recreation, Park, and Tourism Sciences. I collaborate directly with practitioners that are members of the Texas Festival and Events Association and Texas Association of Fairs and Events. We make that distinction. Two different organizations, one, the TFE&A, they work, their clients primarily are those folks that are building festivals, festivals out of municipalities, city festivals, anything from an art festival, an art walk, chalk walk, that sort of thing, to smaller towns and cities. The Texas Festival and Events Association, the Texas Association of Fairs and Events, is more about the rural experience. Those are folks that are managing fairs and rodeos and exhibitions and expositions. We do have, and they do make that distinction, even though we do have a core curriculum that speaks to both professionals in each one of those disciplines, each one of those industries. They do make a distinction as to how you run a rodeo is going to be completely different to how you run an art walk or a chalk walk. This is just a really simple overview, really quick overview of the core curriculum that we do have for the program. The Texas Event Leadership Program is we estimate it's a 2-year program that professionals can go through to complete and get a certificate of merit. The core curricula covers everything from activity planning, how do you work with a board, emergency management. That's a big one, especially in this age of concern for people's safety, not only at a festival, but also the potential for folks that just are coming to festivals to do harm. How do you deal with those kind of emergency situations? We want them to get exposure to the fundamentals of fundraisers and profit makers. How do they look at their festivals as a business? This is very important for those folks that are in municipalities. People in cities understand they have a budget to work with, but they can also look at their service, their public service, through business models as well. We provide them with that information. Legal and regulatory concerns. There's much more that we cover with this program as well. We also provide electives because we want them to understand, to experience different aspects of their business as well. Creative publicity. How do you develop a website? Very similar to Miles' program as well. What are the trends in technology and the trends in their own industry? How do they survey their event? How do they provide a simple survey? So we provide those kind of electives. To get through the program, they've got 24 core modules they have to get through, 3 electives we ask of them. We also ask from them to participate actively in their industry, to provide volunteer service. And a lot of these folks are already doing that in their professional job. They're serving on a committee for a not-for-profit that's managing another event. So we say, okay, feed us information about, we understand you're going to do at least 50 or more hours of volunteer service in that volunteer capacity. So please give us information, a report about those 50 hours. And those 50 hours of volunteer service could be anything from writing a magazine article about an event to actively participating on a board for another event, or simply being a secret shopper at another event. We've heard that term, secret shopper. It means just having a plant, having a individual going into an event, not publicizing that they're a professional from another organization, rather just being part of the crowd and observing how that particular festival or event is playing out. Are the concessions working well? How does traffic flow go through that? Are people providing adequate customer service? You knew I had to pull that in there somewhere. So we're providing them with as much of an exposure to their industry in professional development as we can. Another thing that I have them provide, which I do get a little bit of pushback, but everyone that's participated in this program and completed it has seen the benefit of creating their own business plan. How many of you have created a business plan for whatever program you have going on? These folks, these practitioners in this industry, it's important for them to understand the entire event that they're working in. Maybe that client of mine, a member of the Texas Event Leadership Program, is working strictly on concessions for the event that they work for. What this does is it provides them an avenue to contact other members in their industry, in their business or the festival that they may not have communicated with purposefully in the past. How does the marketing for their festival work? They have to provide that information in their business plan. How do concessions work? How does site and logistics work for their event? It helps them to understand a little bit more about the festival or event that their smaller part plays in the larger success of their event. And again, those clients that have provided a business plan have seen tremendous value for going through that exercise and completing a business plan. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed this overview of all three of our programs. We are open for any questions that you might have. My name is Stephen. I manage the Texas Friendly Hospitality Program and Texas Event Leadership Programs. Miles manages the Nature Tourism Development Program for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service.
So if there's any questions, we've got a chat box down there. Feel free to jot your question down there. We'll take a few minutes to answer some of those questions that you've had. Meanwhile, I'm going to stick the website in here for the webinar series in case you would like to pass this on to someone else or look at some of the other ones that are out there. I see Trevor's typing.
Thanks. One thing I don't think we mentioned, and it's probably important, is that part of our role as specialists is also to do training for the county agents so that they can at least be able to connect with the local clientele, the local community members, and start to raise awareness that Extension does have a tourism program. This is another area where Extension can be of service. It hasn't traditionally been something that the clientele sees Extension for, so that's a constant process also.
And I see too from the participants, the ones that I know, which are most everybody on here I know, that they are from other states. So if you guys ever done training for other states, extension specialist, or do you make the material available so that they can do their own training?
So yes, we definitely work with other states, both through programs like this or directly. At times we'll go speak at other states' programs. But I think we should let everyone know about the National Extension Tourism Team and that there is a National Extension Tourism Conference held every other year, which is a great opportunity to get together with others. In fact, this year is the off year. However, a number of the tourism folks are joining the Community Development and Natural Resource Program. So there'll be some tourism tracks there at the end of this month at that conference. And then next year, the conference will be in New Jersey. We actually hosted it here last October in Texas. So that resource, extensiontourism.net, is another good resource for connecting to folks in extension working in tourism across the country.
And you might jot that website in the chat box so everyone can be sure to catch that, if you don't mind.
Will do. No questions? Nobody wants to know where they're going to visit in Texas? We'll tell you where to go.
It's beautiful here.
We got a question from Hewat, and Hewat is with USDA Rural Development, a good partner with us. So she's got a question there. What are the major components you would recommend to take into consideration when developing a recreation economy? Good question.
Well, I assume you're talking from like a community perspective. And in that case, again, we start with that, for me anyway, whether it's nature-based tourism or anything else, those 3 I's: really know what you have in terms of an inventory. That's critical. Assess your current infrastructure and product, and then where are the gaps? You have to assess the market demand. So you're looking at making a match between market demand and what you have. And with that in mind, the recreation economy is blended into almost every other economy. So very important to know that it supports traditional manufacturing and other aspects of the community economy that maybe aren't tied to recreation as obviously. So it's important to realize that this is something that's integrated with the rest of the community.
I may be able to answer Gregory's question. Do other states have similar tourism programs that you discussed today, particularly the southern states, and then nationally? And of course, you guys can chime in also, but the 4 regional rural development centers are in the process right now of doing a scan within Extension Service to see who else within Extension is doing this work nationally. South got a head start. I think our scan has been out for a little over a week, maybe almost 2 weeks now. I don't have it up in front of me, but I would say that the vast majority of our 13 states have responded with someone that has expertise in this area. And I think the national scans are likely to show the same kinds of things in the other 3 regions. But also, Miles and Stephen mentioned the NET group, and so I believe there's probably people from nearly every state on that also, aren't there?
And we have people from across the country, both directly in Extension or with other land grant universities, other universities that are working with Extension. So it's a group that's not limited to Extension folks, but others that work with Extension within the industry or other academic institutions. We also have kind of international representative component to it, primarily with a few Canadian representatives, but at our last conference we had a couple other countries attend. So it's something that, although from Extension point of view it is limited, it's not the traditional, there's not that many people with tourism in their title, there are quite a few people that are working in this area.
See another question from Hewat. What are the most commonly observed gaps, such as financing, infrastructure, capacity, that are limiting rural economies from developing this sector?
Well, the gaps are a lot of times knowledge, as so it's knowledge of the impact of tourism. Its economic impact is a big gap. Just knowing what the industry representative organizations are and how to take advantage of state level marketing programs. These are things that most communities don't have someone that is fully trained in or experienced in. So that is what's needed to help develop the proposals, the grant proposals, the infrastructure funding proposals, understanding how, say you mentioned, I think, well, you mentioned infrastructure. There's a lot that gets involved in that, whether that's parks, whether that's transportation, whether that's restoration of Main Street, things like Main Street programs. So I think, in short, the biggest gap is just knowing who all the players are, and then having some data. There's always a data gap in terms of everybody wants the data of their local community. And so it's helping people understand that, yes, that's important to do the primary research, but there's a lot of secondary data out there that should support the decision making and is valid. But it takes usually some training, some digging, some time to connect people with the right source of that kind of data to support investment.
And so Gregory gets the gold star for quote of the day. So thanks, Gregory. Gregory Dale is also with USDA Rural Development, but I appreciate that. Extension service is the gift that just keeps giving. We're going to use that on a billboard somewhere. Thanks, Greg. Any other questions? Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate your time with us. This has been fabulous to see the different ways that you're approaching this question in your state. Of course, Texas is a huge state, so if you can accomplish this in Texas, then you've got to be able to do this anywhere because y'all have such a great big land mass to cover. So appreciate your work and the breadth again that you've shared. As they've noted here on this slide, there are some of the websites. This will be archived, and if you scroll back up through the chat box, you'll see where that website is. We'll have this up probably within a day or two so that you can review it again or share it with other colleagues. So again, thanks. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate all of you who've joined us, and we'll look forward to joining again in July. We have our webinar series in July that is looking at how one community in Florida has taken at-risk youth working through a faith-based organization to help find mentors for these youth that can help them learn some skills in repairing homes, but they're using seniors that maybe need some repairs done on their homes in order to be able to age in place with a high quality of life. So there's a great partnership. We'll be hearing about that in July. And in August, we'll be hearing about connecting rural places, some really innovative work that's being done in broadband expansion and adoption. So those are our next two slated. You can also go back to that website and see ones that we've held throughout the year and just explore those other topics. So with that, we'll just say goodbye to everyone. Hope that you have the rest of the great day. And again, Miles and Stephen, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you all.